Hello, welcome to Greenwood Bonsai Studio today. We're just going to do a short video on this Cedar behind me. It's a recent addition to my collection, obviously a very well established tree, and wasn't intending to do a video on it, but we've had a few people that have just had a look, that have seen it here and said, oh, we ought to do a little video on that, and we thought we'd do a little bit just to document what it started off looking like before I started working on it. Although this is a high-class specimen tree, has been worked on previously by Mario Stenberger. We think about 2 to 3 years ago it was wired. About half the wire's come off, half the wire is still on, and it's cutting in, so it really wants to come off now. So it's got a few challenges, some bits of work need doing to it, and the first challenge was getting it in the studio. If we measure it up, look, from like left to right, it's about 4.5 foot across. So we turned it round sideways to get it in the studio, and it wouldn't fit through my studio door because across here it's 4 foot front to back. So we had to, yesterday we got it out of the van, and we had to use shrink wrap to shrink wrap the branches up like this, so it was narrow enough to even fit in the studio. So it's in here, I can trim it, but I'm not going to be able to wire it in here, because once it's wired I can't scrunch the branches up to get it back out through the door. So the plan is going to take the old wire off, thin out some of the branches and twigs, and then it's going to be wired probably late May, once it's put its first flush of growth out, because I can do that outside then. At the moment it's like -1 outside. We're having a bit of a short, sharp frost this week. So I've started pruning this a little bit already, so I just wanted to show you what we're doing. Now obviously when it was wired last time, it's now got more twigs and more branches on it than it had when it was probably last done. And also they've developed and they've thinned out. These are very vigorous growers, the Cedar. You know, you could probably take a couple of buckets full of growth off this every year. You see there's quite a lot of growth on the floor already, and the growth on the floor, or these branches, it's literally just off the top segment of this tree. So till now, all I've done, I've started at the apex here, and I've trimmed the apex down to this level where my arm is. So all those branches have just come out of here, and we're trying to thin out branches as a prerequisite to wiring it next year. Get rid of some branches that we don't need, some that aren't very good formation or structure. Let me show you a couple of examples of what we're looking at. When you look from the front of the tree here, look, if you look in here, there's a heavy branch here, there's one above it here, but this one above it here, all it's got on it growth wise is that little section, 4 little shoots. So it's not worth keeping now, it's not worth keeping this branch for what it's giving us. So this branch here, back in there, we can cut that out with a concave pruner. We'll take that back to the trunk, which is going to give us a bit more space in there. So okay, now we've got a gap here, but obviously when it's wired, this is going to wire in, so we're not going to have that gap. So when I'm pruning initially like this, some of this is kind of using judgment to know where we're going to be. Same here, this foliage comes down here on the left, but if we look at it from a structure point of view, this branch here is quite good, but you see this bit here that's growing up, giving us this foliage. Really, this foliage here wants to be grown out, and this bit we don't need. So that bit there, growing up like this, we can take off. And again, gives us a little bit more space, a little bit more definition through there. There's another one here. Let me just turn it around a bit, and then Josh can get in here with a camera and have a look, show you. So there's a branch just here. We're always considering what we've got on these branches, right? So here we've got quite a lot of foliage, nice amount of foliage, nice flat foliage pad, look, flexible, put it where we like, and it's on a thin branch. Here next to it there's a thick ugly branch, quite wire scarred, but look at the foliage that's got on it. So this is a less attractive branch. So it's also getting a bit congested in here. So this heavy one we're going to take out to get rid of the heavy one that's high up the tree. You see there, look, it's not a very attractive branch anyway. But we've kept this lighter one that's got better foliage, and we can put this where we like. So initially, that's the main task, and I've started from here. We've come down to here, and if you have a look in here, this section that I'm doing at the moment, I've just started doing this. We've took a branch off. We took a branch off here that we didn't need. It was quite badly wire scarred, so that was worth taking off anyway. And then here we've got the old wire. It's probably been on 2 or 3 years, so it's ready to come off. It's cutting in. Not so bad here as it was high up the tree, so I'm taking that off. And in here, look, obviously when it was first started, all these branches were needed, but because it's developed, now we've got one here, middle one, this one, this one, this one. I would suggest to you this middle one, a bit too congested in here. So this one here, and it's not actually got a lot of growth on it, look. So I think we'll probably be able to get rid of that middle one as well. And we'll utilise these others around it. So just going through, thinning it out. You know, it's going to be a big undertaking. You know, it's going to be... I want to let it flush out its new growth in spring, because they get quite shaggy and they put on quite a lot of growth. So I think we'll let it flush its new growth in spring. We'll trim that back at the end of May, and then I can wire it at the end of May, beginning of June. I could do it outside, it won't be -1, and it'll be a bit more comfortable to do. So that's the job for today. Just wanted to show you. And we've got a little cup on there, look, just to show you the size of it, because it's one of the largest trees we've got here to be working on. And hopefully it'll be out on display. And if you visit the nursery, you can have a look at it. Just wanted to give you a little bit of an insight to what I was doing today on a cold day in the studio. So I hope you've enjoyed that little glimpse, and thank you very much. Take care.